My name is Ariana Brooks. I'm 25 years old, and for most of my life, survival meant learning how to stand alone. I was 9 when a highway accident took my parents. The foster system raised me, but it never felt like home. I studied accounting at community college because numbers were predictable, unlike people. Still, my address history raised eyebrows during interviews. Employers smiled politely, then chose someone else. So I worked at an upscale boutique in Atlanta, folding silk dresses I could never afford. That's where I met Adrian Caldwell. He was charming, wealthy, and persistent. He said I made him feel real. Within months, I was living in a mansion and wearing a wedding ring that felt like a passport into the life I'd never had. But his mother, Margaret Caldwell, never hid her contempt. "She doesn't belong here," she once whispered. Loud enough for me to hear. Then Margaret's kidneys began failing. Adrian told me he wasn't a match. He cried in my arms, saying I was their only hope. He spoke about family, loyalty, and how this sacrifice would finally make me one of them. I signed documents I barely understood. The morning of the surgery, I told myself this was the moment I would finally belong. When I woke up, Adrian wasn't beside me. Instead, a nurse handed me an envelope, divorce papers. Margaret's transplant had been canceled due to complications. My kidney, however, had already been reassigned legally to an emergency recipient under a clause Adrian had slipped into the consent forms, a powerful billionaire named Victor Langston. My marriage hadn't been loved as it had been. Procurement, I later discovered. Adrian's mistress was pregnant, and the family had planned my exit from the beginning. But Victor Langston did something none of them expected. He came to see me. He told me my sacrifice saved his life, and that he knew I had been used. He offered mentorship, not pity. Over the next year, he taught me finance, negotiation, and corporate law. The hidden assets Adrian had placed in my name for tax shielding became the foundation of my independence. I transformed from a discarded wife to a financial strategist. Eventually, I became CEO of Phoenix Meridian Holdings. Through legal acquisitions and forensic accounting, we uncovered Adrian's textile empire was built on wire fraud and shell accounts. Federal agents arrived at his office one gray morning. Margaret died months later. Not from illness, but from the collapse of the empire she valued more than humanity. I didn't attend the funeral. Instead, I stood at my parents' graves and promised something different. No one who feels powerless will stand alone if I can help it. They tried to erase me. Instead, they created the woman who ended them.